We got to record. Okay, forget it. No, we'll start over. It's 8 o'clock. We'll call the November 8th transit meeting to order. Roll call. We have everyone present except for Richard Johnson. Approval of minutes for the October 11th.
Move your approve. Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Public comment. None for me. None to Austin.
All right, Transit Commission meeting 11/8/23. Agenda today: ridership, grant timeline, electric bus update, financials, whip to meeting, Transit Commission members, and questions. Ridership saw an uptick. Doorstop and Red Cedar increased from 469 to 487, up 4%. But looking at the service days, we actually had more per day in September, but right around the same. Community ridership increased from 1380 in September to 1470 in October, up 7%, and our daily ridership was up as well. Looking at the stout route now that we got 2 months in for this fall semester, increase from 12,625 in September to 15,081, up 20%. And we've had a pretty warm October, so that was still good to see. Looking back at the previous years here in a few slides, it didn't stack up as well, but I think that was to do with the warm weather. So October doorstop and Red Cedar ridership at 487. Just a little light compared to previous years with some of those riders taking community. Looking at stout route ridership, a lot of totals on here. We have spring totals, fall totals, and academic year totals. But looking how we did, we got a bronze on that one, being the third best out of the years. I think if we'd had a little bit warmer of a little bit cooler of October, like historically, I think we would have gotten second or the best. Community route ridership, real strong numbers, not the best, but our community Saturday was third best that we've had so far. Grant timeline. So the only thing that's changed in this is anything in blue. I presented to the city council just a small public comment on this, and that subsidy request was presented to them on Monday night for our 10% increase. And thank you, Gretchen, for the motion to approve all on the board. That helped a few other agencies like Stepping Stones and a few others with their increased requests, and it was across the board approval for us as well as the rest. And the mayor had good things to say about the team, and asked some good questions about the community route when I explained how it's improved. It was a good meeting. State 5311 opened last week. That deadline will be 12/9, 3 p.m. And that's what we had for grant timeline updates. Electric bus update, they have not sent another email, probably will after this meeting. But if everything stays on schedule, we're sitting 3 to 4 months out now from receiving these. 2023 financials, looking back at the past 3 months and how we are sitting through October, we're still gaining in the savings bank. Couple thousand compared to how we looked in September for about a $30,000 buffer.
So I was just looking at the middle slide,
Yep.
the, like year to date was 99,000, but yet the projected total is way up there. So
Yes.
You get most of the grants in the fall then?
Yes, yeah, they're pretty delayed. It's getting better. WisDOT had some turnover, and with their accounting system that they had, they said to wait to submit Q1 and Q2 expenses up until a month or two ago. Everything is submitted through Q3. And I got an email last week that it was accepted. So we should be getting 3 checks totaling a lot of what the expenses were for Q1 through Q3.
Okay.
So that should look real tidy here and hopefully before next meeting.
Thank you.
Yep. WIPTA meeting. So this is a Wisconsin public transit meeting that all of the transit agencies in Wisconsin go to every year. And every other year, they team up with Minnesota. So it's really big. This is the first one that I've been a part of. They weren't doing it for a couple years, and it was great to go to it. Didn't know what to expect. When I got there, I ended up going into a meeting that I didn't need to be at. It was about lobbying for the transit agencies and a lot of people on the board, but it was good to learn a lot at that meeting. Right after that meeting, went from that to transit workforce, what different agencies were dealing with issues, whether it be turnover or no applicants for their recruiting, length of time it takes from that interview to actually get hired, on what people have to go through for that. Next class was TSA terrorist intent class, which you never think that'll happen to your agency. But you know, the New York subway, it just had a big issue with that. A public transit bus shooting happened about 4 weeks ago. So you never think it'll hit that close to home, but just understanding how to read body language a little bit better and stuff like that. And then de-escalating the situation, learning a little bit of training on that, and taking these slides that I was shown in that presentation and setting up a team meeting for that. WisDOT group meetings, and then a one-on-one meeting with our WisDOT reps, which is awesome. I've never met these people in person. That we've been over online video chats for 3 years. So it was awesome to meet them. And a lot of times there's playing email tag on, they're so busy with other agencies. Sometimes you won't hear back for a week or two. It's nice to get every unanswered question with an instant answer, and understanding, okay, a question. These buses for the Stout route, they're not big enough. You know, pretty soon we're going to have a lot of issues with a really cold winter. How can we get these into those bigger transit buses when some of these still have some useful life left? Okay, instant answer. This is what you do. This is how you do it. So to get a plan in place with that. And then this is pretty cool. And I hope we can get these on our buses that are coming.
The Q-Strength One is an all-in-one wheelchair securement station that eliminates many of the complications.
Brand new technology that
system. As a single all-inclusive solution,
it's pretty labor intensive to
have the time
set up those securements on the right. That's how all transit buses are.
Standardization of
All of ours,
procedures
at least.
and training.
39 seconds to 2 minutes.
With visual indicators, auditory
It
feedback,
magnetically sit
which
in
buttons
digital
are
tracks.
and an easier approach to occupant securement use. It makes securement friendly and intuitive, allowing your operators to proceed with confidence, even with the most complicated mobility devices. Its all-in-one design eliminates the guesswork of properly anchoring securements into the vehicle floor and worries about missing parts and storing various components of the system, while at the same time providing a significantly larger securement area that is better equipped to handle today's increasingly complex mobility devices. The Q-Strength One is the only vehicle integrated solution that is fully crash tested to meet the highest standards, including.
So big thing with that is labor intensive and speed. It's hard for a lot of our drivers, you know, get some of that knee surgery, stuff like that. And how tight it is back there with loading some of these people in the winter, getting gravel and sand and salt in these tracks. That's a pretty awesome system that, you know, up until now, I haven't seen any technology improvements in a long time. You know, our 12-year-old buses look the same as our year-old buses. So hopefully if those are accepted on WisDOT's equipment list, they could maybe be implemented into the buses that are getting built. Pretty expensive and hard to retrofit them, but if it's a new bus build out, it's only a few $1,000s. So looking into that, and I hope that something like that could be implemented for
So
us.
there aren't any buses being made with them right now at this time.
None of ours, other people's, but it's brand new. But
Well, you said something about WisDOT had approval.
yes, so I don't know around the US, but to get certain equipment, like to get a 42-inch wheelchair door for lift compared to a 36, it's got to be approved by WisDOT, or we front 100% of that cost.
Okay.
We could do it either way, if we had enough of a budget for them, but if it's on WisDOT's approved equipment list, front heated step, stuff like that, they'll front that cost to the 80% towards that. It's really nice. Last things on that, there was a leadership speaker that was a good speaker for us. The Vikings played the night before, so some of the transit people from Minnesota went to the bars. They didn't appreciate the high energy speaker at 8 in the morning, but I went to bed at 7 and I appreciated it because the Packers didn't play. And then just their slideshow presentation that day was communication, and it's not, you know, it's about how you say it, what you're trying to say as much as what you say.
So Austin, when you attend something like this, I'm assuming you have it the best you can, because I know your schedules are all over the place with drivers and being on routes and having meetings with your drivers, but is this something like when you do have meetings with them, you try to cover with your staff, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, you looked at number 2, and it's probably more realistic in today's world that something might happen than it has been, you know, but as far as like just going through some of the new things or things to be aware of, or
yeah, we've tried to do you know, biannual at least, or quarterly meetings, but on the de-escalation and, you know, terrorist intent, that's just a subject that you know, you never think about in Little Menominee, right? Stuff like that would happen, but terrorist intent is that's anything. That's not, you know, some huge thing. It could be some small thing that.
Well, we have you know, with the university here, we have a diverse group of people that, you know, are exposed to each other, you know, more so than maybe people think about, you know.
we have every
I figured
demographic that rides the different buses too. So I think it's something that I overlooked before, but definitely needs to be touched on. So I'm glad that was a meeting that I was able to attend and learned a lot from it. Okay, I did not make headway on this from our last meeting, but we do have everyone here that this pertains to. John here, our new city representative, Gretchen, and Darren should be changed to a stout representative. But is this something where it should be a consideration for action by the commission to adjust these names or terminology? Is this something I should reach out to Andrew on? Andrew is who brought this up, with just looking to update his files. Do you have any insight on this by chance?
I do. I would go back to the rules of the board ordinance.
Okay.
In the county ordinances, and it should list out the transit commission, the composition of the group, and sort of what it needs to entail and what they're called. If you wanted to change them, I mean, they might not be so specific, but anyway, if you wanted to change them, you'd have to change it there if there's something specific. If it's just what you would kind of sort of commonsensically call the different positions, you can call them anything you want to call them.
Okay, perfect. Probably shouldn't be too bad. Okay, that's oh, Richard is on. John, with your term being up, is this a board that you want to continue on? Is it one that you'd like to step down from?
Well, I'd be interested in continuing. I've had 3 board meetings meeting at the same time on this day for the last 2 years, so I've kind of had to alternate. One of the board meetings has been moved to the 3rd Tuesday, and the other one I have a replacement for now because I just hired a BP. So willing to serve if you are interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So he still be considered the county citizen rep, then look to change that one. With this one, it'd still be the city of Menominee, but so with you taking over kind of the last 10% of last term, this just renewed till.
I mean, I'm up for election and I was appointed by the mayor, so
Okay.
I'll stay
So,
as long as I can.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just update these and then the only thing that needs to change is that name of the board position. Okay. That's what I had for the meeting today. I don't think I can share my screen.
Just for your knowledge,
Yeah.
the commission has powers and duties described in statute 1538. Membership of the committee shall consist of 9 members, 5 current members of the county highway committee, 2 members to be appointed by the city of Menominee, and 2 members of the public to be appointed by the Dunn County Board Chairman.
That's a major part.
Do they have the
One of
second
the-
nominee?
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't Stouda like a major
Yeah,
patron? You know,
Right.
basically, and
That's what I mean.
someone
They
who
should be a
has,
separate position.
yeah, someone who has a lot of, what's the word correct word I'm looking for, but, a lot of say in probably how the routes run and timing and,
Investment.
I mean, just due to the sheer population of potential of ridership, you know?
so you're actually appointed by the city.
No, I believe this is my second term. I think I've been on here 6 years. I was originally appointed as a county rep. County,
Okay.
yeah, I don't live in the city. I took over for Keith McCartan. I think Keith McCartan was a city appointee, but Keith McCartan was used to police and parking and transit. When, so when he retired, that's how I got on here. He was kind of filling that dual role. So no one's officially, as you've seen, no one's officially designated a stout rep. It's just been, so with that sort of background, slot into one of the spots.
So the county chair appointed.
Yes. Yeah, I have that paperwork actually.
Oh, it's fine. I just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Twice.
with Stout technically a state entity. That might be the reason the city is doing Stout.
maybe.
But if it was labeled as such, as, you know, city appoints a representative from the UW and
Two city people, one
one from the university.
university.
Yeah.
Maybe put that on a future agenda so we
Yeah,
can vote on it.
So it'd be, because that'd be 10. At 5 highway, 2 city, and 2 appointed by the Dunn County Chair,
That's nice.
It's
That's
not.
mine.
plus 1.
Plus one, plus one for stuff.
Yes.
Well, unless.
Which one will we
because
take
like
away?
Gretchen said, you said one of the
It could
city
just
or
be
the
one of the
county would
city.
be
Okay,
an appointee of.
okay,
So,
perfect.
but if you want that specific language, it would be an ordinance change.
Okay.
Good, any other questions?
It looks like we have a, $30,000 surplus. Does that go into a fund balance, or is that, if we have that money on hand, does the state take away that much money, or
No, if
how can it be utilized?
we set up. Sarah's on this call too, but we set up when I saved money last year. A trust fund was set up. Human services was the human service grant. Had to go into that. The extra money from the human services had to go back into that trust fund and be at a threshold of 50,000 or less, and the rest had to be spent or given back. But so that's how the neighbors were able to give some of that money to them towards their bus. And a couple other things. There's just halfway strict things you can spend it on. But there's a trust fund set up for this specific
know that.
thing. Yep, it's either or you have to give it back. So it's good. Good that we got it.
Anything else? Nothing, ain't nothing. Next meeting, December 13th, same place, same time. We're adjourned.
Sure.
We'll call November 8th highway community order at 8:28. Roll call. Everyone looks like they're present. Approval of the October 11th meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made second. Any discussion? Any corrections? If not, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Passes. None for me. Any public comment? Nothing. Nothing. All right. Dustin or Brent, I guess, whatever.
Turn it over to Brent.
I figured that.
All right. I'll just talk about what the guys are doing right now out in the field. Right now, we have completed salt sand operation. So all the mixing of the salt sand is done. We're in the process of getting that hauled out to our outline shops. Everything is hauled to all our outline shops right now. All the townships have come and got their salt sand, except for a couple. There's 2 left today, which they just decided yesterday they were gonna get some because they can't get it where they were getting it before. So we do have enough for them. So hauling there and then hauling into the Menominee shop. We have about 10 trucks on that. We are working on some shouldering some roads just with our trucks right now. Patching, a little bit of brushing. We are finishing up some guardrail down on County Road C on that project. They're putting that up today. So that job should be totally complete as of the end of the day today, I would say the whole job. County Road Q, that should be complete. All the signs and everything was put up last week. The signs were put up on Z last week. We are still spray patching a little bit. We were going to shut them down when it got really cold. We had them all cleaned up, ready to go. And we're like, well, the weather looks good, so let's keep going. So we started doing that again as of this week. And if we need to get any more oil, we'll have to go to St. Croix to get that because Miggs is out as of today. Patching. We're as soon as we get done hauling salt sand around, we will be. There's plenty of brush that we can clean up in our ditches that is down from the summer that got pushed off to the side and that we couldn't get to. So we'll be cleaning that stuff up, cleaning our patrol beats up, and then there's sections that we're gonna brush. We also have some locates called in, and we're gonna go down to the other end of County Road Z where we're gonna finish next year and do some soil borings. The locate is good, and we'll probably do that next week. I don't know if I missed anything. Do you think anything that I missed?
Yeah, we're looking at completing some work with that field road right behind the judicial center. Isaac's got some culverts that we're gonna install, some locations for that, so we're gonna try to get that while weather's good here. At least to bed the culverts in and see if we have time permitting to install some more gravel on that field road behind the judicial center. So we'll try to go as long as we can while weather permits.
As soon as we get the salt sand hauled, I want to get our loader out to the fender pit so we can start hauling some rock in to the outland shops and our shop before everything freezes up. And then if we can do that over there, we'll haul rock and put the rock in 1.25 inch gravel. Haul some rock in on that road over there so they can have something to maintain there.
Yep.
That little stretch on W that they was washing out there.
Yep.
I don't know who the guy was and did a good job.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes. Bill Wickman did that shortly after we had our meeting last time.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So what group bought the Dobbs's Landing? You know, all there were Dobbs's, you know,
Yes, I'm not
out
sure.
by your like sand mine. Is some public one like maybe the Sportsman's Alliance or something, no? But once they heard that they were running out of sand out there, their ears picked up and they want to buy it. You know, because you were saying that there's just a small area of sand left in there, so. You know?
I'm not sure who bought that.
It wasn't like the land conservancy.
No, I thought it was Sportsman's Alliance, but I'm not sure, but in some public group, you know. And that was like 3-4 years ago, so. They kind of want to make a corridor going down through there, so, but I don't know where they heard that, unless it was on this year's meeting.
I did want to say, we are finishing up our mowing operations in the fall. We have one on the west side of town, we're finishing up on that right now. And then they are up on the Boyceville routes. They gotta finish up there too. That's almost done. Then we'll get into, we have 3 segments we can brush and take care of mowing and brushing on the state. Which will be, we have started a little bit, we've done that on 170, we have 29. And then from on Highway 25 from Wheeler to Ridgeland, we can go on that route too for the state.
So at exit 45 there, I see that they went underneath the railroad. What was that? Was that part of that next year's project then?
Correct.
Was that for the lights or electricity or?
It's for the traffic signals and then
Oh, okay.
also the railroad signal upgrades, so they
I
didn't.
see they went underneath there.
Yep.
Is that when you gotta have a third party to watch it or not?
Yes, we're not responsible, they'll have to do that,
Okay.
but their cost.
You guys have any questions, concerns?
I have a question about the comment about the first and last snow event of the season.
Yeah.
What's that?
Bottom one.
The bottom line.
You know, that
I hope
was
that's
later.
I hope that's a guarantee.
We had a little excitement on October 30th. I'm hoping it's the first and last.
I'm with you.
I agree. We spend money on and throw it out the door, basically, what it is.
I hope so. We know that's not gonna be true, but you know, I mean, we weren't completely ready, but we were ready enough. When guys came in that morning, I said, stay calm, it'll be fine. You know, we had to have a couple guys cover a couple beats, you know, and it just stay calm, it'll be fine, it's gonna melt. Let's
Melted slower than you thought.
take it did melt it slower than you thought, but take a chill pill and it'll be fine. And
People have to learn to drive. and
Exactly.
Slow
I agree.
people forget. And yes, all over the state, there were slide-ins all over and accidents, and people just forget, but it really wasn't that bad. But when you have warm roads, snow hit roads, and that you drive on it, turns ice. That's what happened. So, but other than that, I mean, we're wrapping up pretty good. We have some pretty good weather right now. We can get a few more odds and ends. We've been out. If you guys know of any, see of any beaver dams, and the beavers are working. We've been tearing out beaver dams. I know we're tearing one out today. And if any of your townships have them and they need help getting them, and they, we're not going to go into the townships and do it unless they call us. So I know there are some, and it has nothing to do with us. And like I said, if they call us, then yeah, we will, but we're not going to, it's not our problem as of right now, until they call and ask us to do it.
Do you rehome the beavers?
They find a home quickly. Don't they? They start making a new home.
Dustin, you're supposed to know all.
I'm usually not out there.
They start making a new home.
Complete
It is
innocent. I don't know about
unreal. It is unreal, the trees along 40 that you go out there and they're decent sized trees that are about ready to go over.
I read they can take out like a 12-inch tree in about 2.5 hours.
Hire them.
I would, we're gonna have to hire them.
Like I said, we're start relocating them on.
They got scapegoats, why can't we have beaver? Peace, I mean, fence them in and let them go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I guess another thing that Brent didn't hit on is we are doing some work to our salt shed, our big barn. We are installing some steel sheeting on the outside by the gable ends.
That is completed.
The wood was starting to deteriorate there, so the DOT is paying for that. We did get a maintenance agreement in the amount of $60,000 to fix that, so.
And our own guys did that. They did a good job. The weather was not great and they did a really good job. You know, we had equipment rented to do it. So we had to do it and it was cold and miserable and we had a couple rain days in the middle of that, but the guys worked through it. They did a good job and I can't complain. We have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things around here, so we're pretty lucky on that. Yeah. I'm gonna talk to Isaac and I'm gonna go out and do some work in the township, so. Hey, you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna go do that.
See you, Brad.
Good day. See you guys later.
You wanna take over, Dan? Okay. Let them know what's happening in the shop. Yeah, well, as Brent had mentioned, you know, getting the trucks ready for winter snow plowing. On the October 30th snow, we had all the state trucks first ready to rock and roll, and we had to have them out on the interstate, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning. A snowstorm went pretty well. Right now, we were in the process of we're pretty much done with the triaxles, you know, switching them over from summer to the winter mode, putting plow lifts and the wing mounts and the wings and sanders and all that stuff. And it all takes time when you got, you know, 20 some trucks. We didn't quite have them all done when the snowstorm, we were about 3-4 short out of the trucks, but then they made do, you know, with the other ones in a couple routes. So we were in good shape, you know, and when you go from stop paving, you know, then trying to get them switched over and the longer you're using them, the less time you have to switch them over. But they're all done now. We still have the 5 graders to put the wings and stuff on them for the winter. And right now we're just doing mainly just regular maintenance on everything. Trying to get some of the equipment taken out of the old shop for winter storage. Getting everything winterized, making sure it doesn't freeze on that. We did have an auction with Wisconsin Surplus that ended last Thursday on the 2nd. Currently, the people are picking it up. We got rid of some excess guardrail posts, some old brooms that come off our sweepers, and they sell really good. Surprising, like the wore out brooms. Yeah, we get generally $100 a piece for them on the auction because people like them for their horses and cattle and stuff for rubbing up against. And we also sold those 3 pickup trucks that were they were rusted pretty bad, and the ones that we replaced with the 224s, the 3 of them there, the Chevy trucks. I just want to reiterate too, for those 3 trucks that we sold on the auction, we ended up taking a loss on them. Basically, when we purchased these trucks, we have to maintain 20% of the original value at all times. So when these trucks get to be 20 years old, we still have 20% value on the original value allocated to these trucks. So this reiterates that we cannot be holding on to these vehicles for 20 years. Yeah, we need to get rid of them before the depreciation or right around that depreciated time. So yeah, at some point in time, these trucks become no value whatsoever. So yeah, I reiterate that. Like I said, we didn't fare too well. We ended up, I think, what, $2,500 on one truck, and like I said, it's just 18, and then one of them will get 500 and something for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, the frames are rusty. Yeah, you know, and the 2 of them were 20 years old. You know, and the one was 14 years old. Sure. You know, so like Dustin says, if you keep them too long, and then they deteriorate and rust and everything else, and they're basically not worth anything. You know, the same as our snowplow trucks. You know, where we want to try to roll them where we still have equity left in them, that we can retrieve that. You know, instead of keeping on them too long or keeping them too long. You know, well then they'd be going backwards. So then you don't get anything. The value out of it. And that really helps the trade-in really helps as far as going towards the new trucks. Especially how much the new trucks have went up here in the last couple of years is just ridiculous. Yeah, in the DOT, they depreciate it out in 6 years. So those trucks are depreciated out in 6 years, but you hold on to them to 12 to 20 years, typically. So, yeah, and I guess I don't know quite how that works as far as the depreciation, that almost needs to be put back into a fund, the equipment fund, so we have the money there to replace these trucks. Depreciation on, because we're saying that we're taking it out of it, how are we gonna replace it? That's gonna be the biggest things in the next 2 years, whatever, if they keep climbing like they are. Pretty much right now, our equipment budget is all used up on 4 plow trucks. So then you don't have any money left over for equipment. So it's something we have to look at. We have been promoting more with the cleanup on the trucks, washing and stuff to try and help with this. It's really worth it in my mind that to try to get this done. We've put a couple of pressure washers out in outlying shops and so the guys can clean their trucks, so we can try to keep them as good as we can. So when we do trade them in, the value is still there. Let's see. Other than that, I guess I ordered a load of fuel again today. Of course, we went through a load of fuel. The last load of fuel we got October 30th was $2.53 for gas and $3.46 for diesel. Today it was about 10 cents a gallon cheaper, which is nice. The diesel was $3.16 and the gas was $2.45. So at least that's coming down a little bit. That's helpful.
How big of a storage do you have on hand for fuel?
The tank, we have 2 tanks out there. One is gas and one is diesel fuel. They're 12,000 gallon tanks. But you can only keep about 10,000 gallon in them. You have to keep a, expansion. Yeah. So a lot of times generally we'll order a split load. We'll order like this load here today was going to be 3,000 of gasoline and 5,000 diesel fuel. They hold around 8,000 gallons depending on what you order. So.
Float tankers have different compartments in them. Yeah, I did not know that. And tankers would do that.
Quite a few different ones where you can split it up.
They have like 91 octane and 89 and 87.
But sometimes, like Brian, you gotta have like the baffles inside, so it won't get flushing back and forth.
Right.
That might,
But I didn't realize they would haul separate wood or different product.
Yep.
On a semi, I didn't know like that.
Yeah.
All line ones, I didn't.
Yeah. So it's really helpful, when you can split the load up to what you need. Yeah. Other than that, I guess it's everything normal, You guys have any questions or anything? Yeah. Getting ready for winter.
It's coming, isn't
It's
it?
coming. Yeah, and I'll just give you an update on the 2 plow trucks that we are currently at Mid-States. So we had 2 international tandem plow trucks that came in. One is going to get sent down to Universal to start production of all the plow equipment on it. We talked to Universal yesterday. They're probably going to bring it in January. And they're going to get on it right away to try to put it in production before winter's over. We'll see, I guess, if that happens. But the other truck will not get done until the next go around of our 2024 trucks that are supposed to come in. Spoke to them about the possibility of what schedule they're looking at for these next trucks, because we currently have to bid this out for the next 4 trucks for all the plow equipment. It's not looking good from what it sounds like. If we get those truck and chassis in June, as International saying, Universal wouldn't be able to get them in until November, December. So we'd be looking at waiting another year for the Ford trucks that are supposedly coming in June. To actually get them in production. So Dan and we have been discussing about possibility of we outfitting our own trucks internally here. We have the staff that's capable of doing it. It's just, it would take up all their time. So that's something we'd have to explore. Like I said, we're capable of doing it. It's just takes a lot of time.
Is that what they had like St. Croix?
Yeah,
One area was
St. Croix started doing their own fabric.
They had that one bay that's all they do is fabricate for them. And that's kind of what they're doing, right?
Yeah, sounds like they have 2 employees. That's all they do is basically get their trucks fabricated.
But do you have the room out there to do it, really, to take that room and?
So we did it, when was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Probably 3 years ago, we did 3 triaxles.
They did 3 triaxles and we ended up having, what, 3 people on that?
We took pretty much all the time, but 3.
Yeah, we took a field operator out of the field side and he came and helped because he had welding experience and he actually came from the shop and went to the field. So we did it. Like I said, it's doable.
So do you have, like extra employees like wintertime? I mean, that aren't really on one specific job, like in the summer, you always hauling blacktop or brushing, whatever. Wintertime is basically just, the snow plowing.
Yeah, so we have 2, what we consider welder fabricators / mechanics, 2 of those employees. And one day they might be wrenching on a truck, the next day they might be fabricating something. So it's not like they're doing the same work all year round. They're not just welding, fabricating every day.
So do you have to have the new trucks on hand before you can take them down there to get them done? Or you just can't call ahead, say like from June, like schedule, like to put the stuff on sooner, they almost gotta have the truck there before they'll put you on a schedule.
Yeah, it used to be that way, that we, when we would get the trucks on time, and we bid out the equipment, they knew exactly what month, we brought them down there and they got done, so we could use them in that winter. We ordered the trucks, usually order them in the prior fall, and then we get the trucks in the spring and then they put them on there and they put their equipment on them and we have them now for, for plowing season. And what really hurt this time, is that the 4 trucks that we were going to trade in, being these didn't come in, then we had to go through those trucks, and get them ready for plowing. And we ended up spending a lot of time and money on them, extra that we wouldn't have had to spend, if we would have traded them off. So that's kind of a bad situation too. But we didn't have any choice, because they're all state trucks. And
how far in advance can you order these trucks? Like knowing that there might be a year out, can you order them like more?
That's what we've been doing. We've been ordering them a year in advance.
Okay.
Which we've had delays just on the truck and chassis showing up within that year period. Well, then that prolongs everything. So it's almost like it's 2 years now before we can actually get these trucks completely outfitted and put in production.
Because these 4 that we've only received 2, we ordered them back in February of 22. So actually when it gets February 24, which it's going to be, it'll take you over 2 years.
Yeah, but now when you go resell them, you're selling a 22 that people are going to perceive as 4 years old, but it's only been used for 2 years.
Well, they'll be like
they'll be the newer model.
They'll be the newer model. They are.
Yeah, but still, if I'm as a consumer, to go buy something and I'm going to buy a 19 or something like that, it's like this thing's already 5 years old, and I don't know.
No, it's kind of sad. I mean, and then too, to get any quotes on them, it'll actually be a quote. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so far out that they won't.
Is there anywhere local, like, isn't there a place out here that does plow equipment? Indian Head, yeah.
And we've had them do our equipment in the past.
I mean, we're we're paying to get it done anyway, right? I mean,
Correct.
so,
The biggest thing, like when you switch installers like that, is the equipment that they install. It's different, you know, so then you end up having to stock so many more parts, like cylinders,
sure,
all that stuff that goes with it, you know, because you've got two different brands. You know, it's the same way with trucks, you know, uniformity is a big plus.
oh, yeah,
You know, the guys know what they're doing,
Yeah.
you know, they've done it before, they've got the parts on hand. You know, we spend a lot of
yeah,
money.
simplify that, I'm sure it's.
It does, you know, and even like the diagnostic equipment, you know, for the new trucks, you know, we have to have a special laptop just for the internationals. And it's getting that way, where you have to have a scanner for pretty much each manufacturer of vehicles and trucks. It's just getting tougher and tougher. Yeah. It's kind of sad. It makes it pretty rough when you're, you know, we shouldn't be ordering trucks now for, you know, 2025, I guess it would be. We shouldn't be ordering them right now. You know, and we've ordered 8 trucks that we haven't seen. And how do you bid them out? You know, that's the biggest thing. Or the way our bid process is, it's tough to do. Like, you know, because nobody will commit to it.
I was gonna say, kind of open-ended bids, kind of scary too.
Well, yeah. And the thing of it is if you don't take it, they don't care because they've got somebody else waiting there. They're boom, you know, they don't, you know, it's sold. So you're basically at their mercy as far as. Pardon?
Yeah. The way of the world.
It seems like it. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys got any other questions or concerns? Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a good day.
Before we head on to the engineering and projects, so we do have 2 current operator positions that we're trying to fill. One employee resigned and actually went to Chippewa County. And then we had a retirement that's gonna be taking place here in early December.
We'll see.
No names, but yeah.
I didn't
You
say
don't
yes.
know.
I
heard it.
So yeah,
Yeah,
they
haven't talked to the Chippewa people very much then.
long story, I mean, it was some family stuff going on there, so. But yeah, we're in the process. We did get 13 candidates apply for the job. We are starting interviews this week. So hopefully we can have at least one of these positions filled in the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until the official retirement date to fill the other one.
Well, that's kind of positive, isn't it? 13. You know,
Yeah, but it's
quality, I'm sure, but
yeah.
if you got 1 or 2,
You got to sort through those 13
Oh,
to get 3 or 4.
Those all have CDLs and everything.
Yes.
nice.
Yep. So we can't beat that. We'll move in on the engineering project updates. Oh, Isaac, you want to?
Yeah.
Go into that?
So yeah, I think Brent mentioned County Road Z putting the final touches on it today. There's some guardrail on 290th Avenue being installed around that curve. But other than that, the painting was completed a week and a half ago. They do Farner's gonna come in and repaint that because there was some areas that were kind of washed or didn't dry well.
Yeah, they applied it when the road was damp a little bit. It started bleeding. And wearing off. So they're going to come back and redo that.
And County Road B from 29, or 1229 to Packer Drive. So the engineering consultant was selected by WISDOT for that portion. Is it JT Engineering? It's for the construction administration of that project. We also have statement of qualification request going out for the north half of B from 94 to Packer Drive. So do we have all those in, or when are those?
November 15th is when the deadline is for that.
Next week. They've been reaching out to Dustin and on questions, and
so
I met with him.
I will be asking some of you to participate in selecting that. Like you've done, I know Randy's helped out with that in the past, so.
So that'd be again for the construction administration next summer on that, the North County Road B project north of the interstate. And then yesterday, Dustin and I went over to CBS Squared in Chippewa Falls for the bid opening of that County Road B project from 94 to Packard Drive. So that was the smaller of the two projects, but the results were good. It was under the engineer's estimate, CBS Squared's estimate, so
nice.
Fairly competitive too. There's 3 bids submitted: Haas, Chippewa Concrete, and A1 Excavating. And Haas and Chippewa Concrete were very close, so it's pretty competitive. They both wanted it. And then the next portion or the southern half of that project, or the stretch from 94 to 12 is bidding on Tuesday the 14th next week. So we'll see those numbers as well, and hopefully, assuming it'll probably be those two again at a minimum, but hopefully we'll get good bids on that portion as well next week.
Who selects that one? That goes through the state, selects those?
Yep.
Okay.
So the north phase we selected.
Oh, okay.
The second or the southern phase is the DOT selects. We basically let them take over the entire project, and we just pony up our 20% when it's all said and done.
And the north half, we're waiting on the railroad for a contract, so we can't award that yet, but we have 60 days, and hopefully we'll be able to award that next month is what Dustin's.
Yeah, my intent is to present that to the committee for awarding that at our next December meeting. I didn't want to present it here, obviously, just because we don't have enough data, and we haven't reviewed it in detail quite yet, because it just happened yesterday. So, but I'll be bringing it up at was December 12th, I believe it is. Meeting 13th. I don't remember what it is. 13th, 12th, yeah. So.
The other project wrapped up this Q&W up just south of Downing. So yeah, that intersection was reconstructed. If you've been up through there, it flows much nicer now. Same thing with that one, because Farner painted it on the same day. Was a little too damp, so they'll go up and remark that, or at least touch up the areas that were bleeding. So that's it for construction. But this is Z, couple pictures. This is right on the north, just south of County Road C. You can see where we tied in on the after picture, but that before on the left and then after on the right, you can see much better. all that alligator cracking, potholing it.
Looks like County W.
Made it lost.
I don't think we got a town road that bad.
Well, you live in a good town.
You know, we pay the assessor pretty good.
Awesome.
I knew that was that weird.
Perfect.
It looks a lot better.
Any questions on engineering project updates, or do you have anything to add, Isaac?
No, we've we did the STP and LRIP applications in the last month, so that was kind of one of the bigger things, and, yeah, we're complete. Yeah, coming up, we'll just be working on, starting on some stuff for next year's projects, design on Z and double B for permitting for that, and then Dustin mentioned that the government road over here and, the bike trail potentially as well, so. What's coming up?
So that lower portion there, when is that done? On your after picture?
That was done last summer, and as you can kind of see, it's already discolored.
Well, look at the paint. 1 year? Wow.
It's usually what happens.
Job security, the paint on this money.
That's the same paint you would put basically in your house. That outdoor paint.
That was terrible. Whatever, okay.
Otherwise, if you go with the more expensive stuff, it's about 5 times the cost. So.
Thanks.
We'll go into the
okay. C, you got the wooden bridge. Brent ever tell you to take a look at that? Last summer I talked to him, on the south side of the bridge, a little sinkhole started.
On C?
You can see there, and I haven't gotten any worse, but I mean.
What section of C? On
towards Elmwood.
Towards Elmwood?
72 there, the wooden
yep.
piling bridge. Not it's right in the middle of the road, sinkhole about that big around. It's only probably that deep now, but it hasn't gotten worse. But I should see if something's bleeding out underneath it, or a car drops too or something. Somebody hasn't bothered it.
I have to look at the bridge. They just inspected it this summer, right? So we could see if they commented on that at all.
Yeah, first we heard of it, so yeah, take a look at it. Just want to let you know, so we're looking at possibly implementing composite rates for equipment through the DOT. So what the composite rates are is in the winter months we would charge the same. So currently all of our attachments have a separate hourly rate than our truck costs. So if we utilize our truck for 10 hours, we charge it for 10 hours. Maybe the wing might be 4 hours, the spreader might be 6 hours, the plow might be 6 hours. What composite rates do is we get the same charge as the truck for all the equipment. So if we utilize it for 10 hours, all of our equipment gets charged at 10 hours. It's at a lesser rate than your normal hourly rate. But what other counties have done this, I would say I took a poll here, I think there's 5 counties in our West Central district that have done the composite rates, and they have actually found that they generate more revenue by doing it. The big reasoning for it is we're relying on our staff to write down the appropriate time on their time cards. There might be times where they miss their wing. There might be times where they miss the plow. I don't know how you plow snow without having the plow, but we're pretty good about catching that. Our finance staff is really good. But I think it would be more simplistic for everybody, for our staff as well as our financial staff. Eventually I do want to get to a situation where we eliminate our paper time cards, where everything's computerized and up to date live as we speak. Crew members can actually plow, or they can code their time directly to a project right the day of, instead of we're typically a week or 2 behind. So like I said, it's to me, it's a win-win situation. We are going to have a meeting with finance and the DOT next week to explore the option. Like I said, we have till December to basically decide what we're going to do. The DOT guarantees our first year that we do not lose money on it. So like I said, from what other counties have done, they feel that they've actually made money on it. So we are exploring that.
Simplified is always better. I mean, it's just
if you look at a time card in the winter, it does get complicated because you'll have your underbody, you have your plow, you have your wing, you have your spreader, you have the truck, and
Yeah, no.
We had times where we missed putting a name on the time card, so. Like I said, we need to streamline and get up to date with, modern technology at some point in time, so.
The electronic would be a lot better.
Any questions? Just wanted to touch on it. So this last month in October, we, our West Central District met, to divvy up the 2024-2025 LRIP funds. So that's the local road improvement, program, that the DOT allocates, money to counties, towns, municipalities. So Dunn County was awarded, 3 different dollar amounts there. So the DOT separates them in different pools. They do, CHI, which is the county highway improvement. CHI D is the county highway improvement discretionary, and then CHI S is the supplement. So those are the 3 dollar amounts that were awarded to, Dunn County, that we can utilize for the next 5 years. So we are, Isaac and myself, we're looking at, what projects in our 5-year plan that we're going to allocate these funds to. So these dollar amounts will not be utilized in 2024, but we can start utilizing them in 2025 and beyond for the next 5 years. So typically what we've done is we always do a hot mix purchase only. So that's the materials itself. So if you look at that $460,000, we have to have double that in order to get the $460,000 just in asphalt materials. So we had a County Road B project that we did this year, north of the railroad tracks there, that had the CHI S dollars involved with it. So we picked a project that had enough asphalt costs to get that $460,000.
So that's gotta be for just one road, like you can't have 2 roads?
You can have multiple roads.
Oh, you can, okay.
Yes. Yeah, we could split it up, but we seem to have enough projects where, instead of maybe doing 3 miles of a pulverized and repave, maybe we do 6 miles and get the 460,000 or half of the asphalt paid for.
Yeah.
So how did we compare to other counties for the amount of money that we received? Is it similar amount of loads or higher?
The way this is divvied up is based on a lot of the population. So Eau Claire gets more, St. Croix gets more than we do, Chippewa gets more. We're probably number 4. It's based on population as well as your road miles.
Okay.
So like out of the 10 West Central counties, we get the 4th highest amounts.
Quite so bad then.
Like if you look at Pepin might only get $60,000 out of their CHI versus what we get 221. So yeah, we need to have the actual project selected by January 15th and submitted to the DOT. So we are working on that, looking through our 5-year budget. Just to give you an ATV, UTV update, because I know this was brought to the exec committee at one point in time, but I wanted to have some clarification because I think there was some misunderstanding. So Dunn County has seen 3 ATV, UTV accidents since opening up the majority of the county roadways. 2 accidents were on the county system and 1 was on the town system. I don't know the full details of it, if alcohol was involved or what happened. We don't know the details. There has been a number of incidents, and when they consider incidents as a phone call that the sheriff's department gets, for someone being too loud with an ATV or a complaint, or they're going at higher rates of speed on my roadway or something like that. So they document those as incidents. So originally, I believe that got presented to the exec committee and county board that those incidences were accidents. That is not the case. There's 3 accidents. There's been 30 plus or 40 plus incidences. So that's phone calls that the sheriff's department has been taking. So I just wanted to clarify on that because they got. When I heard that, I was like, we had 30 accidents. That's not good. No. We need to adjust something or do something different. Yes.
So this is since it's been opened up, but it could have been. And I'm not pro or con either way, but it could have, these could have happened anyway.
Yeah.
We don't,
Right.
yeah, we,
Okay.
obviously,
Yeah.
we've kind of, since we've done this, we're kind of
Tracking it.
tracking it a lot more.
Okay.
And I've asked the sheriff's department to notify me so we can put it on a map, or we can track where this is happening. I mean, if we're
Got one
finding
area.
consistency, whatever, maybe County Road D by Jake's is getting a number of accidents.
Okay.
Hey, maybe we just continue having County Road D as being a road.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's
something,
good. That's a good idea. Yeah.
something we have to look at. But I wanted to clarify that to the highway committee, because it opened my eyes when I heard that, and I was like, ooh.
You know,
First I've heard of it, so.
I haven't even seen one on the road yet.
You gotta go to the bars.
Well, I see them like S and W.
Yeah.
Hey, you're probably there too.
I actually.
But it's not like it's hundreds. You might get a group of 15 to 20, maybe on a weekend, but it's not a problem so far that I've seen.
I'm gonna say, I haven't seen much.
I think the biggest issue that I've heard from even the ATV Association, the clubs, is individuals. I think when you give them an inch, they take a foot type of thing. It's like now they're going down state roads. They're going down. We've heard that they're going down Highway 40 into Colfax and stuff like that. I can't police it. That's not us.
No.
I mean,
No.
and the sheriff's department does get notified of it, but by the time they get there, it's like, they're gone.
Which is another incident.
Correct. So that would fall under the incident category.
You know, and
but like I said, I'll present this information as we go. Like I said, if we see something glaring or concerning, I'll bring it to the committee. So. I sent out a survey to all 72 counties, well, excluding myself, so 71 counties. So in our packet, I didn't put it on the TV here because I don't want to get too excited for having the general public all up in arms seeing what other counties are getting. So I just wanted to just give a reference. It's on the very last page. So I sent out a survey to the counties. I wanted to see what their 2024 budget was, their overall county highway budget, if they were borrowing money, and what type of levy dollars that they have allocated to the highway department. So there should be 3 pages, your last 3 pages of your handout. I didn't provide this into the packet. I literally got this information, I believe, last week, Friday. And trying to keep it all together as soon as possible. So if you look at, I have every county here. Some responded, obviously some did not. The typical counties did respond. So some of these, I know even in our West Central District, they didn't understand the survey that I sent out with the overall highway budget. They thought that meant overall county construction budget, not the overall highway budget. So if you see some of these being low, like just take for instance, Buffalo County, if you see that 3 million, that is actually their construction budget, not their overall highway budget. I didn't have time to clarify that and all that with everybody. But as you can see, what I presented in Dunn County, that 19.2 million for an overall highway budget. Obviously, there's potential of $3 million of borrowed money. Levy amount was just over $4 million. That's what Viata has shown in there for plugging in the highways budget. So our typical budget, like I said, if we didn't have borrowed money or I guess what I take from this is, as you can see, we're in a similar situation than a lot of counties are. As you can see, there's borrowed money, and some counties ain't borrowing money. Some are getting larger levy amounts. Some are getting very low levy amounts. It's all over the board. I will compare us similar to like Portage County. So Portage County, we're number 7 in the state of Wisconsin for the most county miles that we maintain. Portage is number 8. They have a similar tax basin. I think there's 60-some thousand. We have 47. I don't remember what it is. So they're pretty similar. As you can see, their overall budget is at 11.7, and they borrow $3 to $4 million every other year. They alternate. And their levy is right around that 4.7. That's what they're planning. I just wanted to present this, like I said, because I feel highway is under the scrutiny in the eye of the beholder, with what I have requested in 2024 for a budget. And I like I said, we're all in the same boat. Every county is in the same boat. I wish we had Marathon County's money, but obviously they're twice the size of us.
They have twice the size of the road, twice as many roads. They do, huh?
They are the largest county in the state.
Wow.
They have a god awful number of county roads and whatnot. So I mean, I'm not saying we can compare apples to apples with all of this. But like I said, I just wanted to present this as we're not the only county that's borrowing money, just to make ends meet in the county system for highway operations. Yes, maybe we're a little bit more than some, or maybe less than some. So, if the state say it changes something, I don't know what's going to happen if we continue to do more with less. I don't know. So I'm not a caveat of borrowing as much as the next person.
That $3 million that we might borrow, is that strictly for highway or not necessarily?
Basically.
That's on that, short term, paying it back, or is that a long? Okay.
So yeah, like I said, some counties responded, some did not. So like I said, there's typical counties that respond, and typical counties that don't. Dane County doesn't want to show you what they get. Milwaukee County doesn't want to show you what
No,
they
I mean,
yeah. But
that's more interesting ones around here.
Yeah. But it puts it into perspective, at least. That's kind of what I wanted to show.
What's the possibility that you might have to borrow the whole amount? And where are you gonna kind of?
Are you talking for 2024?
I'm talking that, yeah, for the 3 million.
As what I know today and presented in our budget, we will need the $3 million.
Well.
So maybe this is for Chris too, and is there plans out there if it gets turned down? Is
Yes.
There is, okay.
Yes.
A possibility.
So I don't, think I'm speaking out of school to say that. In my conversations with people that are reluctant to borrow, it's not an issue of not funding, it's an issue of should we borrow or take it from the general fund.
Okay.
And like I presented at the last meeting when I presented that 5-year plan. I mean, if we want to continue doing 20 miles or plus roads a year, I would say that the budget we are projecting in 2024 is going to continue throughout the next few years. Yeah. But it may not be reality. So that's what I want to make that known as I'm presenting it to you, that if we want to go in a positive direction, that's basically the funds we're going to need. Right now we're easily $6-7 million short, to do all that every year. So
because the way it was presented to the board that you might or might not use the 3 million, right?
I think it's always a up to $3 million. I mean, as we get, there's just so many moving pieces even yet in the budget in terms of if somehow, if somewhere along the line, other departments have more money, then we have to borrow less money to meet the whole budget. So it's really, we probably wouldn't move to borrow that money until mid-year next year, just so we had a better idea of where we were at and what we actually.
I just thought when it came to us, they said it might or might not be needed, but with that's also a definite need. Definitely, yes.
The previous year, we approved up to $1 million and we never borrowed that.
Right.
That's kind of the same situation, but $3 million. You're probably gonna, borrow some of that.
Yeah, based on our known revenue sources versus our expenses, we are short. And it would have to take $3 million to fill that. Any questions before we move on? Trying to keep this moving, but
yep.
I know this has been presented to the full county board, but I don't know if I presented this to the highway committee, and I apologize if I didn't. But I believe there was a first reading on it already, and I believe there's a second reading this month, Tuesday. But so the highway department, so we have requested a night differential change with our current policy. So we currently have 40 cents per hour for night differential pay. We are looking to increase that to $5 per hour. Don't get your eyes all excited quite yet. So this is for work that is considered scheduled work on the I-94 interstate. And I just want to reiterate that. So there is no cost to the county. This will be a cost that the DOT will be paying for. The reason why we are doing this is obviously it's working on the interstate during the day is hazardous enough, and now you work at night is even worse. We have lights, we have all the bells and whistles to do that. We are probably going to see an uptick in night work going forward. I would say on average, we maybe see a half a dozen times a year currently. When we start doing concrete repairs, those blowouts, all that kind of stuff. The DOT is pushing for us to do that at night so we eliminate congestion during daylight hours. So obviously, we feel $5 per hour it's consistent with what St. Croix is doing. So St. Croix has implemented that already. And like I said, I have been talking with the DOT about it, so they are well aware of the situation that's going on. But that is only for state I-94 work. Scheduled work. Now, when they're plowing snow at night, that doesn't count. This is only for scheduled work on I-94.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, does that change in the amount go directly to the workers, or is it going to a fund of some kind?
Goes directly to the workers.
So it goes on their paycheck.
Yes, it goes on their paycheck.
Okay.
Yep.
So why isn't it consistent with every county that has I-94 going through it?
It's their own personal policy.
Really?
Whatever the county wants to implement.
Well,
40 cents seems really, it's ridiculously low.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it got brought to my attention.
Wow.
Farmers, our employees were very upset about it. It's like, I can't even buy a soda and a candy bar at the end of the day with that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more hazardous.
Motion of some kind to make this change?
Oh, it's going to county board, so it went to administration, so Jenna has taken care of that, and I apologize, I should have brought it to the committee, but I completely forgot.
I guess my reason for asking the question was, as the highway committee, if we support that, is there a better chance that it will get supported at the total county board level?
But don't you think because there's no direct charge to Dunn County, that would be pretty easy?
I agree. I think it's a no-brainer, but I don't know how other people think.
Yeah, and I don't know like how that works on an operational piece. I don't know if that has to come to the committee.
I mean, ideally it would have, but it's not absolute, the executive
Yeah.
committee ultimately is the funding arm, so you would want it typically to come, but it's fine to catch it up this way. I would say the board has generally been pretty strongly in favor of these kinds of shift
Sure.
differentials in different areas where there's the need. Whether it's highway or the neighbors or
Right.
wherever.
Oh, yeah, to me, it makes perfect sense, but like I said,
So they should get paid more.
Yeah, be more supportive.
yeah.
But they should get paid more, cause that's kind of a hazard too on that interstate like that. Guy up there on what, 128? Right there, the two people got killed because somebody didn't slow down, but I'm all in favor of working at night. And I went up to a wedding up in the city. From Hudson across the bridge, it took about an hour. It was backed up that far, it just stopped. There's like 4 lanes going down to 2 lanes or 1 lane.
Yep.
And it seemed whatever lane I was in, the one that was stopped the most.
And
Over here. Like, what?
And obviously, that's a different situation because that's a contractor working on behalf of the state, so they're basically working there all summer. This is obviously just piecemeal times that we would be going out there, so the DOT has the control. If we're paying you to do it, we're gonna tell you when you can do it.
Okay.
Is basically what I foresee happening a lot more going forward.
It is disorienting though. It is dangerous.
It is.
Because when you come up upon it at night and it's all lit up and you don't know what's going on, it's a bit disorienting.
I agree.
You realize how dangerous it is.
Yep. Yeah, and it might even be half the traffic volume. I believe there's 40,000 cars per day that go up during the daylight hours on the interstate. At night, you might have 15,000, which still is all it takes is one.
Yeah.
Per day or per hour?
Per day.
It's more than that. More than 40,000? I mean, it's.
As far as I know, it was like 42,000 cars per day.
That's a lot of cars.
And that's going one direction.
Pickups.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, when you think about it, if you take all of Dunn County residents and tell them to drive on the interstate,
I guess. Sure.
Yeah. That's a big number.
Yeah.
And then the other caveat to this is, so we have a night watch person in our winter months. So we take one of our operators and basically give him the opportunity to be a night watch person during November 15th through April 15th, I believe it is. So the DOT pays 50% of that cost. We look at it as the county can utilize that as we have them do janitorial work. We have that individual load our trucks that are working at night, cleaning up the shop, doing odds and ends and responding to any emergency events that are needed. So currently there is no night differential pay for that position. So if they're getting $25 an hour, they're getting $25 an hour at night to do the same work. We struggle to find an employee to do it. So what I looked at is we would incentivize that to $250 per hour. That is the same pay as what our working foremen get during the summer, during the year. And as I stated before, the state would pay 50% of that. We would be looking at implementing that from 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. So that's a typical scenario of when our night crew works, when we're plowing snow in the winter months. We've had an individual that has done it the last 3 years and does a great job at it. We actually have clean floors and toilets and
Well, it's good.
we don't have a loader sitting out in their salt shed sitting idle all night long. And he goes and loads the trucks and it's a huge benefit. And like I said, if you try to incentivize it, to try to get somebody to do it, because it does change your schedule. I mean, you're so used to working during the daylight hours and all of a sudden November you work nights and through the month of April. So and I don't know if that was explained to the county board, so I just wanted to reiterate
That's
that.
all in that same package.
Yes, it's all in the same package.
I read something in there, but
So why would the state help pay half of that if you just do janitor work? I mean, how does the state benefit?
So what they feel is out of a 10-hour schedule, they believe 50% of that can be charged to the state for loading trucks or manning the phones. Like if the sheriff's department state patrol calls, there's a slippery spot on the interstate.
But that would just seem to be like a county responsibility, not a state. I'm glad they're doing that, but it just seemed like that would be a county responsibility.
Yep, no, that's in there. Well, because I would say 50% of our work is the state, and the other 50 is the county.
If it's on a state highway, then
that's their responsibility.
Yeah.
So, I'd like it to be 100%. I'll take 50. So, but I just wanted to mention this, and I apologize. I didn't completely blew my mind when I didn't present it to you guys. It is. What, you're gonna recommend me? All right.
you gotta bring extra donuts.
Gonna take the next 2 days off.
I'll tell you what.
No.
In school suspension.
In school. Darn it. Going into the highway financials, as you can see, we're still running that projected budget surplus of that 3.2, which is a good thing. Some of that is due to the delay of our trucks. We had $1.2 million allocated to purchasing our equipment, and right now we haven't spent a dime on our equipment except for these pickup trucks that we've gotten. So
the problem is that if you have that big of a surplus, people are going to ask, well, why do you have to borrow $3 million?
You got your 3 right there.
So
That's what they're gonna think.
That's gonna carry forward though.
So we allocated 2.7 million to our B project for this year's budget, so that's going to be carried forward. Obviously, our purchase when we utilize our equipment, as you can see, with today's cost of the equipment, we pretty much should have about $1.4 million every year to buy equipment. So, like I said, I'd like to see that number right around that 115 every year that we carry forward, and we're self-sustainable with purchasing our own equipment.
Right.
I would actually, that 3.2, I would like to see that number be higher personally. We ended up selling $900,000 worth of equipment. I mean, that number's in there. So like I said, that it looks like a big number, but in reality, it really.
It's already spent, basically.
And as you can see, October, if you look at our expenses, that $2.2 million, we had a very, very large expense due to all of our paving. County Road B, County Road Z, County Road Q and W all came at the same October month. So that's reality. But like I stated before, it's nice to have a surplus than a deficit. There's a list of our expenses. Like I said, we can go through those if you have any questions. And then our revenue source. And that's it in a nutshell.
Any other questions? Well, I know it's just old news, old business, but those lease trucks, when is that up, or where's that sitting at?
So the lease comes due at the end of 2024 with the option of purchase. It would be a balloon payment in 2025.
Okay.
Or we can look at a different lease. We can look at.
So we got one more year.
Getting rid of all 5 trucks.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have that discussion here in next year.
Okay.
And when I say the balloon payment, it's like $50,000 more than what our annual the yearly payment is. So,
okay. Somebody's asking me about that. I couldn't remember what I was doing. So. Yep. And then on the small equipment, that lease is actually due up next year too, right, for the Bobcats or the mini excavators?
We don't know that,
Okay,
because there is no actual annual renewal.
oh,
Unless they change their hourly rate.
okay.
I haven't explored bidding it out or anything
Okay.
like that.
So
They
that's-
haven't said
They haven't,
they're changing it.
they haven't said, okay, just had some questions. All right, that's it for that. Number 7, considerations for actions taken by the committee, approval of vouchers.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion been made second. Any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 7B, roads, highway legislation agenda.
So in your packet, I printed off the previous document that was submitted to the legislative committee. As you can see, our bullet point 7, roads and highways. I guess if we want to make any changes or add anything, delete something, now's the time that we do that. Before it gets presented to the legislative committee.
Seems like it has to do with all the more money, increased funding.
Correct. And a lot of it is around the gas tax.
Yeah,
Obviously with fuel efficient vehicles, electric vehicles, there's got to be a means and a method to try to generate more revenue. On that side, when we were at the last committee commissioner conference down in or over in St. Croix, Secretary Thompson, he was basically kind of saying that maybe looking at a use cost. So if you drive your vehicle more, maybe you have to pay more, which
That'd be a big headache though too.
I have no idea. That's something the state's looking at.
They've been studying that for a long time.
Do they do that in Minnesota when you register your vehicle? Yeah.
I think they just have a higher registration fee, but they don't have an actual use fee that I'm aware of. So I don't know how that would work, but that was it almost sounds like when I was with Secretary Thompson was leaning, that's kind of what the state was looking at as a very good possibility.
I know one of the proposals is it's like a minimum of like 17,000 miles is the average person. So if you drive less than that, you'll have to prove it. If you drive more than that, you pay more.
17,000?
Something like that. It was some number like that.
None of us here probably do.
No, I don't.
I do.
All that money in the town of Colfax.
Yeah, 30,000-40,000.
But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much what's in the packet currently. I personally don't have anything that I would want to add or change. Like I said, I think we pretty much summed it up that we need more transportation dollars, any way you look at it.
Yeah, there isn't a township or a county that doesn't say the same thing, so.
And I know, obviously that they've got shared revenue and all this stuff, but that's not necessarily transportation. It could be anywhere, but I mean.
Every time makes you think, they're that big of a surplus. And then they're trying to be cheapskates on the transportation part of it. You know, they got a lot of money there, the surplus there. You know, you're not talking millions, you're talking billions. So,
The unfortunate thing in transportation, I hate to say it, $1 million doesn't go very far.
no. And a lot of the legislators are all down in the southeastern part of the state, so it seems like they get the bigger share, because you have more population.
We have to vote on that or? Okay.
Yep, that's what you want, Chris, is that the
Oh, yeah.
intent?
Need a motion to approve the roads and highway legislation agenda. As presented, as presented.
Move we approve.
Motion been made the second. Any other discussion on the agenda? Anything anybody want to add? Okay. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 8 none, next meeting, December 13th. Same place, same time. Meeting adjourned.